Well, we just watched episode 9 of Gotham, season 2, A Bitter Pill to Swallow. And what did we learn? Well, we learned the best way to get the Penguin to go to bed is just to sing him a little lullaby, just like his mom used to do. Ooh, too soon. Sorry about that. We also learned that Jim ignores Lee's calls. I mean, yeah, you're going down the elevator to face a bunch of assassins and you might be killed, but if she calls, you need to answer that. You had time. You were in the elevator. It was just elevator music playing. Whatever, Jim. And lastly, what would you call yourself if you are a hired hitman who's also a cannibal? Well, if your last name's Flamingo, might as well just go with Flamingo, right? That strikes the fear in the heart of people. I don't know, but anyway, I'm Chad Perkins, and this is After Gotham. Welcome to After Gotham. I am Chad Perkins, and please welcome to the red couch of... I've really been forgetting to think of things to call the red couch this season. From the duo, actually, from the In the Comics and In the Comics Dead edition, he is David Cottingham. He is Russell Johnson. Welcome, fellows. How are we?
Hello. Thank you for having me.
How is the In the Comics Dead edition going?
We're behind on
Little
some
bit
shows.
behind?
Yeah,
A little behind.
But you're at least off of Fear the Walking Dead, and you're on Walking Dead.
We are.
Yes,
All right, cool.
yeah. We made it to at least the first episode.
We've
so.
got to do a couple reviews on the last few episodes, yes.
All right, well, make sure to check that out at youtube.com/21network for the In the Comics Dead edition. Guys, we watched episode 9, A Bitter Pill to Swallow. Initial reactions, David Cottingham.
I thought it was pretty good. Better than last week's, which was very Barbara eccentric.
It was Barb heavy.
Heavy. Good moments in this, with the assassins and stuff like that. But overall, it was okay. Wasn't as on par as kind of the first few episodes of the season, but it was okay. It was good.
Russell?
Ditto.
Cool, thanks for coming
Yeah,
on,
no,
Russell. Always great to have Russell.
No, I pretty much going to say the same thing. I thought it was better than last week's episode with Barbara, but it still was just. It had some good moments. Had that good, fight scene with Jim and all that stuff. It showed. I think it explained a little more about why Lee is concerned about Jim. Him crossing the line that Batman never crosses, and that point where you get to it and you say, I can't go over that line. That type of thing. Mm-hmm. So I thought I explained that a little bit better. As far as Jim's dark side, I don't know if it's a dark side so much as, when you've gone too far type of thing. So I thought it was a good episode. I
gotta say, actually, I like this. I think a little bit more than you guys. I just thought it had some really good fight scenes, especially there in the elevator. Had some tense moments, and what we're going to talk about later, the stuff with Riddler and Penguin, I thought was just on par. I'm glad to see those two back together. I feel like they're friends in real life. I don't know. I hope they are. I'm sensing a spin-off, Odd Couple-esque with them. That seems to be popular on Twitter.
Huh.
Yeah, it won't happen, but that would be awesome if it did. But yeah, let's just get into basically the very beginning. Now, last season, when the show first started, we were kind of thinking there was going to be this thread all throughout of Joker sightings, Joker references, because they teased that, before the show started. And then as the season went on, those kind of died off. We stopped even asking about them. This time, though, right in the very beginning, spray paint on the brick wall, ha 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 ha, there. And some people are even saying this is like the Court of the Jokers or the League of Jokers or the Gang of Jokers or whatever. This is kind of like definitely a different approach with Joker, but basically Jerome is the one who started this, all these people following in his footsteps that will eventually become the actual Joker. And I know this has nothing to do with this particular episode, but what do you guys think of that? Different take on the Joker.
Well, I liked we're a little concerned with the Jerome episodes and was he really going to be the Joker, and we're going to have an origin story and all this other kind of stuff. So I like how they handled it. That they didn't really make a definitive Joker story. They more created the idea of Joker through madness. So I kind of like how they handled that. So I'm okay. I mean, I still like the fact that there is no definitive Joker origin story. There's not, we'll never, whoever becomes the Joker, we still may not know who he is or his background is or how he becomes it. But this thread they've thrown out there, I like how they've handled it. I mean, I'm not against it. It would have been a lot worse had they, again, Jerome was the Joker and he died and somebody picked up his mantle or something like that. That would have been a different take on it. But I'm okay with that handle. I think it's good that they've thrown that in now because it's already been established now there are people who are kind of just following his footsteps and just going into madness. So they, that's how they're handling that. So I thought that was okay.
Dave, do you think Gotham will give us a definitive Joker before the series is over?
If they do, I think it'll be maybe at the very end, kind of like the hints that they're trying to get to the end of this series being the introduction of Batman. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's also an introduction of maybe a definitive Joker or something like that, because we've already had a glimpse of kind of a Red Hood gang in a sense, because in one of the backstories in Killing Joke is he was kind of part of the Red Hood gang, or in a New 52 he's kind of part of the Red Hood. He kind of infiltrates the Red Hood gang and takes over a lot of the guys and becomes one of those guys before he falls into the chemicals, right? So I think they could go down that road. I would welcome it. I think if we were to get a backstory or an origin of a Joker, I do like this origin where Jerome did set the foundations and you had multiple people out there that kind of like almost insane people. But that's the thing too, is he's not insane. So just somebody that kind of admired him and maybe took over, and you don't know that guy's particular backstory, but you kind of know where he got the idea from. I think it's
a good kind
idea.
Of middle ground.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but they handle it very well.
We want Joker, and then us.
Right,
we're like,
right.
Don't you give us a backstory?
How dare you?
Yeah. So I thought,
I thought they handled it pretty well.
Pretty good way to handle it.
It's pretty brilliant.
Yeah. So we had this part where Ed Nygma, he's basically nursing back to health Penguin, who has a broken wing. I should put that in the intro. Tag on it. Whatever. Next time.
Yeah.
And he's essentially saying, "Hey, Penguin, I want you to train me. I've only got 3 kills under my belt. Shucks. I want you to kind of train me, make me into, without saying it, a supervillain like you." But by the end of the episode, it's basically gone the other way. And I feel like this episode, and one of the reasons why I really liked it, was this was more a birth of the Penguin than any other episode so far. The fact that he realized, and this was pointed out by Ed, that you have nothing, sadly enough, you have nothing to hold you back anymore. No one that can be held over your head is leverage. You have no. Well, he does as his dad. Yeah, maybe that'll come in. But basically, he's saying you're free. You can do whatever you want now. What did you guys feel about this scene, or those scenes?
Yeah, I thought they were good scenes. I mean, I think there were. I don't know. I think it maybe dragged a little bit for me, just because every time we kept going back, I felt like Penguin was waking up and then going back to sleep every time, up until the very end.
I'm still here.
I'm like, geez, I'm going back to sleep. So I get the point of it, and I like the fact that they're in scenes together now, and I don't mind them kind of going down that road together now. I think that'd be pretty cool. So I'm good with it. I think it's hard to imagine now how he's going to kind of get back his empire, because it seems like that's falling apart. The whole Galavan thing is kind of front and center right now. So at some point he's got to get his groove back.
Penguin got his groove back.
With
coming this fall, 8:00 on Fox.
Because Galavan is not a mobster. Like that. He's trying to destroy the city, not profit from it,
Yeah.
and control it, so there's no who's the mob? There's no mobsters right now besides Penguin, and he kind of wanted to control Penguin, but then by holding his mom captive to kind of make him do what he needed to. But I don't know. So I don't know how he's gonna get back to that until Gallivan's out of the picture, which I guess he is right now.
Russell, is this the beginning of the what is it, Brotherhood of or the
Court of Owls.
No, like the DC
The
villains,
Penguin Riddler thing, yeah.
What do they call it?
There's Society of Supervillains.
Yeah,
or
Society of
Legion
Supervillains.
of Doom.
Yeah,
Legion of Doom. Is this the LOD?
It's LOD. Yeah, I have Lex Luthor's part of that.
Yeah.
But I agree with you that I thought it was nice how the Riddler came in and said, "Hey, train me," and then he kind of turned the tables and made him realize, a man with nothing to lose is the most dangerous man of all. So you can do whatever you want. So I like how he kind of turned the tables and brought Penguin back around and said, "Look, this is who you are now." When we started, he was holding an umbrella for fish.
Yeah.
Took one season to become king of Gotham. So he's back where he started, but now he's got a little more evil on his side. Somebody's willing to kind of go down that road with him. So I think it starts the individual big murdering villain. We already had Jerome not being the Joker, but that seems to be the theme with at least with Batman villains. They kill a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like Ed only having 3 under his belt, it is, come on, small potatoes. You're just getting started, kid.
Yeah, but one was the love of his life.
Which actually, but I kind of like how they handled that story. I really do. I like how they handled the Riddler story as much as I like how they handled the Penguin story. The Riddler story was good, but how does he bring those two halves together? It had to be that moment to make him a whole person, make him a whole villain, make him realize I've got nothing to lose now. I can do whatever I want, and I think that's the kind of villain Batman has to have. Mm-hmm. Because Joker has no regard for his own safety in any situation. If you read any of the bigger stories, the new one out now, which is I highly recommend, called Batman Europa. It's a mini-series, but it's where Joker and Batman are both infected with this disease that's going to kill them within a week. So they need each other to figure out how they can survive it. It's kind of cool, But the Joker doesn't really even care all that much, And I think that's kind of villain you have to have. And I think we're getting Penguin to that point now. Not that I thought he was pretty crazy to begin with. He would kill anyone at any time for any reason.
For a sandwich. He was
exactly. It wasn't like he was holding him back, because he had his mom. But it makes him, based on what we already have with him, it makes him, 100 times more dangerous now. So I like how they handled that whole situation. But yeah, it's the beginning of all the criminals coming together. It's good that they know each other that kind of young into the history of villains. It's not like they've been doing it forever. They just kind of came together. Oh, you're the Riddler. Oh, you're the Penguin. It's like they're really kind of coming together. So I think that's cool.
Mm-hmm. Well, another first, possibly first, correct me if I'm wrong, but in this episode, it seemed like Alfred finally started treating Bruce like, hey, I'm your guardian. I'm going to lock this thing down. It seemed like always before he was like, you shouldn't do that, Master Wayne and Master Bruce. And then he's like, you work for me. Like, oh, yeah, you're right. Okay, go ahead. You're just my butler. But now he's got him on lockdown. So what do you think about this change in Alfred? And what do you think about how Bruce is acting?
I'm going to go back to what I said last episode. This Bruce, I know he's still a kid, but it's, again, I'm going back to the comics, which I shouldn't do all the time, but it's just that the death of his parents is not so much about finding out who the killer is. It's about protecting Gotham and stopping it, and it drives him to become Batman from the youngest age. He's always been driven. And I still feel like Bruce is, like that scene we were talking about with Silver. Silver's like, you don't believe all the things they're saying about my uncle, do you? He's like,
nah, baby, nah.
Of course not.
Nah,
he has that no, of course not. Why would you say that? It's just, he doesn't seem like, I've always said Alfred just needs to punch him in the nards. I think that's what Alfred's doing now. I think Alfred's finally said,
punch him in the back cave.
Exactly. So I think Alfred's doing that now, and I'm glad to see that, because I think Bruce we don't know how it's going to work out. We know how he trains and goes away and comes back and all this other stuff in the comic books. But so I like the fact that he needs someone to say, stop being such a wuss, stop doing that. And no matter what you say, I don't care.
You can say a little bitch if you want to.
I don't know. But I like how he's like, I like his attack, not attack on Bruce, but he's like, I'm gonna go to bed. Obviously he knew it was a lie. I'm retiring. And I was just like, all right.
Oh, I'm really tired.
He's like, oh yeah, exactly. He's like, and he told him, I sent that taxi away, pulls out the keys and everything. I mean, I like that about Alfred. Like, yeah, you gotta knock this stuff off.
Yeah.
So I like it.
Not very Bruce Wayne-ish of Bruce.
Right.
So yeah.
So I like Alfred being the one to kind of hopefully get him on that path.
But didn't he agree to do that though? Wasn't there a scene where Alfred's like, oh, if we're going to do this, you got to listen to everything I tell you to do.
That is right.
So
he should probably be
that's why
reminding him of that.
It didn't surprise me because he was
right. Yeah, no, I agree with that.
He's not changing his attitude. He's just following through with what he said he would do if he's going to train him and get him involved in all this. So
what do you think Cat's role is going to be in this? Casserole? Is that what I said? Hey, Cat's role.
That's very delicious, Chad.
That's a very delicious question, Chad. I'm glad you asked me that. I'll have seconds.
Hungry.
Yeah. What do you think Selena Kyle, a.k.a. Cat's role is going to be? Because she showed up at the very end, perfect timing, when Bruce was trying to leave. Is it motivated by jealousy? Is it motivated by her actually caring about Bruce?
Yeah,
it seems like Cat always has an English.
It actually is very much like I think their characters in the books, where Catwoman is not going to side with Batman or Bruce in this situation, but she does care for him, and she doesn't want it's not gonna I guess it's not gonna kill him, but is going to try to prevent him from getting hurt. You know what I mean? So they have it's just a weird relationship in the books, and I think we're seeing that in this, which I actually do like, because I remember in the first season it was always like I was really confused on how they were are they just gonna be kid buddies, and grow up together, but they're actually forming their counterparts in a sense, where she's definitely an independent woman out there living and fighting for herself, has feelings and wants the best for Bruce in a sense, but is not willing to, watch his back, but not willing to tell him like you need to do this kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like she's the bridge between him and Alfred. Honestly, she's street smart, and I think she does care about Bruce, but I think she's still that, street smart kid is to be like, look, stop being an idiot. Alfred is telling you the right thing. He won't listen to Alfred because Alfred is the authority figure at this point. So he's going to be the rebellious kid who wants to do his own thing. But I think Selena comes in and says, no, he's right. Stop being an idiot, and talk on his level to get him out of being Bruce Wayne, the whiny rich kid, to having some sort of street smarts. Like, you just can't believe everyone that comes along just because they say they like you, type of thing. I think that's her role, her motivations. I agree with Dave. They're kind of ambiguous across the board. I feel like her role in the show is to kind of bridge that gap between him and Alfred, make him make him be more cautious, make him be more aware of his surroundings, not just gonna be like, no, of course not. He needs, he needs that. So I think she provides that in the show, and it keeps her in that circle. So I like that role for her.
Yeah. A lot happening with Jim also in this episode, and a great sequence between him and Captain Barnes. I love the story that Barnes told when he was in the Army, and, crossing that line. And of course, big shocker, Jim gets in that same situation in the end. But he was telling Barnes that basically when he had that shotgun on Barbara, he really wanted to pull the trigger and just blow her away. And that's pretty dark, especially for Jim.
Yep.
And then he has that moment with the flamingo. He's got the gun in his mouth. He could just end it all right there. And of course, that comes back to camera one right here. Bite him. Yeah. So, I personally, I'm glad that we saw this line that Lee's been talking about. You're dark, or I guess the dark side is what I should say. I'm glad that we finally saw it there, this definitive line that he could have crossed and he didn't. How did you guys interpret all that?
I feel like Jim right now is Batman before he was Batman. Batman does all those kind of things too. Batman has that darkness inside of him, being the Dark Knight. But he knows when not to cross the line. He'll break a guy's arm. He'll make sure somebody walks again. I mean, he does some terrible things, but he'll never kill. And I think Jim just had to, be shown that where that is. I think he could be a model for Bruce when Bruce starts to get out there. It's like, look, there's a line you can't cross. Even though we have to do bad things, and even bad things happen to us, and even though the villain gets away at the end or ends up killing the person I thought would live, there are consequences to not crossing that line as well as crossing the line. I think they've shown that. Once you go over that line, there's no going back. And Batman's very definitive about that. That's why he always tells people who want to kill, to Red Hood and all that stuff, like, once you go past that, you can't come back.
Right.
So to show that, again, I think either crossing the line has consequences and not crossing the line has consequences as well. So it's a fine line to walk.
Dave, do you think Officer Park getting eaten to death there by the flamingo is going to have a adverse effect on Jim? Saying, well, okay, I didn't cross that line. Now I should have. And he's going to go back to it, or
I don't know. I think he questioned it a little bit, and he's regretting it maybe. But yeah, I think it comes down, like Russ said. There's a line, and you just. And the thing about it is he. It's hard because he actually has crossed it, right? I mean, in the beginning of the season to get his job back. Technically you can count that as self-defense in a sense, right? I mean, he got shot at him first. But you go all the way back to the pilot, in fact, that he wouldn't kill Penguin. He's already kind of established that line. And he's always been, I want to fix Gotham, but I want to fix it the right way. And I think he definitely is going to be affected by this, but I don't think it's going to change his philosophy. Yeah.
I was sad Barnes got killed.
Yeah,
I saw it coming. I was
we
like,
all thought
dang
she
it.
was going to make it.
I know. I was like, hey, they're going to let her live. Everything's going to be good because she was in the shootout. She could have been killed easily there. When he said, go, Barnes like, go make sure the stairs are clear. I'm like, she's dead there. Like I was like looking for every step she was going to die. When she got out, I was like, all right. And then they pulled the,
Yeah, what a way to go.
Oh, man, that was brutal.
Well, let's talk about...
Why couldn't they, knock him out really fast?
Oh, stop it. Stop eating her. You...
They're, pulling him off, and he's just, gripping. It's like, hit him across the head or something,
Yeah, I
agree,
or shoot his leg or something, I don't know.
Yeah. What do we think about Eduardo Flamingo? Let's tell us about the comic incarnation of him.
Yeah, I don't know much about him, but from what I've devolved from the internet, thank you. He was man in the comic books. He was a normal guy with a family, and he had kind of I guess he was doing some small criminal things for a group called the Mob, but he didn't really want to go full criminal or try to get away from that organization. So they end up capturing him, brainwashing him, and turn him into a well-trained killer who eats his victims. So he's been a cannibal, and now he's wacko. The pictures of him in the comic book, those are awesome. The whole pink outfit, the pink motorcycle. Yeah, that's a crazy that's a crazy Batman villain.
Flamingo.
Exactly. I don't know. I thought I did a good job of the character in the show, but
it's good casting.
I wouldn't have been.
I
I would have been upset if he pulled up in a pink Cadillac or something. That would have been kind of cool.
Lowrider.
His car. I don't know. Something like that would have been neat. But you could have gone that way.
He had the little pink streak in his hair, right? He had that going.
A little bit.
A little bit.
He should have had a big flamingo tattoo on his arm. But his name was Flamingo anyway.
Yeah,
right?
Eduardo Flamingo.
Yeah, so.
When I sleep like this. With my leg up.
Weird.
I Batman the
He's
Flamingo.
weird.
Yeah.
It's Batman villain though.
I know.
Peter saw one.
I'd never heard of him until this episode and research.
I want to say that he popped up somewhere in the New 52, like briefly.
Really?
Yeah, somewhere.
Yeah, I saw a picture of him where it looked like the Damien version of Robin. I don't know if Damien is just.
It may have been. It may have been that.
Damien's not just New 52 now, but
It may have been either in Batman. It may have been in Batman Incorporated.
I didn't read all
That's
that,
early.
so maybe, so.
Yeah, that was like he may have been part of that.
Yeah, none of the ones I read. Definitely not in Schneider.
Russell Berger will let us know.
Probably.
He'll tweet in. Lastly, we have a stabby gang of brown hoods, I guess. Yeah, they're just all just doing the. I don't know. That doesn't seem very menacing to me. I mean, yeah, you get a group of 30 of them coming at you. That's pretty bad. But they're just kind of going to stab you now. I don't know. What's going on there? What's happening?
Well, we've all talked about Court of Owls,
Right.
And this really isn't. I mean, I don't know if it's a play on that to some degree because again, part of Gallivant's whole thing is revenge for his family, who was put down by the other families in the 5 families of Gotham, right? Got rid of them. So he really wants to destroy Gotham because he wants to destroy Bruce Wayne and the Wayne found all the Wayne stuff because he wants to bring his family back. And that family, being an original family to some degree or another, is kind of the story of Court of Owls, right? They were a family that was there behind the scenes forever, but they, always been running Gotham from behind the scenes. Like everyone even knew about them. So. Yeah. I don't know if it's along that lines because the monk thing, but it doesn't seem like it to me. It seems like it is its own story.
Yeah.
I don't know what really to compare it to, honestly.
Yeah, and it is strange because it very much is similar to the Court of Owls. So it makes you wonder if they would even introduce something that's even deeper. But I mean, we've gotten confirmation, I think, that the Court of Owls are going to show up. So maybe there is something deeper than this family and this feud that's going on, or maybe it is the Court of Owls and they just haven't said it yet. I don't know, so because it is very similar. It is very, the Court of Owls though is about keeping everything in line. The whole city under control, from politics to police to crime. They kind of they assassin. They send out the assassins.
Yeah,
they're assassins to keep balance going on. So, I don't know. I like that concept. I thought when we first read that concept in the New 52, it was just unbelievable to think that Batman thought he was in control this whole time, but he wasn't. He wasn't. He was doing his part, but not overall. No matter how much fighting he did, he wasn't getting anywhere because of the Court of Owls. It was pretty incredible to think of something like that. So yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say, but it wasn't like this. It wasn't like guys with stabby.
I just really felt bad for that security guard.
Yeah,
that's all. It's like he walks up, hey, you guys are supposed to be. I'm like, oh, he's so dead.
I'm gonna need to see some identification.
Yeah.
Or you just stab me. That's fine.
Stab.
Stab.
Walk away.
Stabby.
Again, what a way
Stabby
to
monks.
go. What a way to go.
What a way to go. Yeah.
Would you rather be stabbed to death, or would you rather be eaten on your neck?
I don't know. I think I'd rather be stabbed.
Yeah, I think
I would.
I wouldn't want my throat ripped out.
I think it's faster.
Yeah.
And
you got all these different. It's not just localized in one spot. What are we talking about?
I don't know.
What a way to go, and what a way to go out for this edition of After Gotham. I'd like to thank how about this, red couch of red flamingos. They're flamingos. They're plumage. David Cottingham at tcottingham21 on Twitter. Russell Johnson at director421 on Twitter. I am at chadperkins21, and this show is at After Gotham on Twitter. Be sure to follow us. Special thanks to Sara Ahlgrim for switching today, and golf clap, which is always appropriate. And of course, until next time, you guys can stay frosty.